It's fair to say that the 7200 is the most common and widely used medium to telephoto lens for any photographer that does sort of nature, wildlife, sports and all that sort of stuff. And normally you'll see a lot of people on Instagram using that lens as one of their holy trinity. So originally I asked to get a copy of this lens from Panasonic because I had a trip planned to South Africa where I was planning on taking loads of photos of elephants and lions and all that sort of stuff in their natural habitat. But due to COVID, it got cancelled, so that means that I was left with an absolutely beautiful lens and nothing to take photos of, which is a little bit annoying. But hey ho, I had the lens in my possession, so I wanted to make use of it and try and get some nice photos to show you guys. So with that all said and done, in today's video I'll be talking about my experience using the S Pro 7200 f2.8 lens from Panasonic and giving you my real world thoughts and opinions using it for photography and not video, because I feel like this lens leans more towards the photography camp than it does the video camp. So let me just bore you for a minute or two while I talk about the absolutely insane build quality of this lens. Of course, the S Pro Lineup is approved by Leica and stands to be some of the best glass available on the market. And since this 7200 sits in this lineup and costs £2,600 here in the UK, you better expect quality throughout. It's also got the pretty red S, you know, that you get with the S Pro Lineup lenses, so you're paying quite a lot for that little red S. It looks nice. If you pull up with this and people know what they're looking at, they'll be like, dang, this guy knows what he's doing, you know, professional. And also it says certified by Leica here on the back, which is another nice touch if you're into Leica and, you know, paying about, well, a mortgage for a camera. Needless to say, this lens is hands down the best built lens that I've ever had the pleasure of using, and there's many things about this lens that I absolutely love, such as the full metal construction and some of the switches that you have available to you on the body of the lens as well. This includes a focus distance switch that's basically a focus range limiter and allows you to choose anywhere between a full focus distance from the minimum of 0.95 meters all the way up to infinity or somewhere in between. This is great for ensuring the best focusing performance for the application you intend on using this lens in. So therefore, if you're shooting subjects that will always be 5 meters or more away, for example, the lens will never hunt for a subject within the first 5 meters. There's also an image stabilization switch on the lens that allows you to pick between 2 OIS modes, mode 1 where the OIS is already on and mode 2 where it's set to auto. There's also 3 customizable focus buttons between the focus ring and the zoom ring on the body of the lens, spaced 90 degrees apart from each other. Those focus buttons can be assigned any of a number of controls, including AF on, manual focus ring lock and auto exposure lock. These buttons make a lot of sense on a large and heavy lens like this because the motion to press these buttons is significantly quicker and easier than shifting your grip and attention to the buttons on the camera. This lens also has the widely loved focus clutch ring that is also seen on the S Pro 24-72.8 and of course the 16-35 f4 that I had the pleasure of trying out, and it allows you to switch between AF and MF extremely easily and also gives you a visual aid for manual focusing. Of course, this lens also has internal zooming, so that means that the weight distribution will stay the same as you move from 70mm all the way up to 200. Anyway, that is enough of all the boring technicalities of this lens. Let's get on to the actual image quality and usability. Coming up now are some photo examples from this lens. Firstly, I went on a photo walk in London with my friend Ben to test out this lens in a more urban portrait sort of environment. I was extremely impressed with the results I was able to get with this lens. The images are sharp and the colours are vibrant and very easy to edit. The fall off of the background is extremely pleasing, especially paired with the compression you get past 100mm. I would definitely say that this lens is one of the best lenses I've ever used for portrait photography, but at the cost of your forearms. Of course, using a lens like this and carrying it around for the entire day around London while shooting handheld did prove to be quite taxing on my arms. I was actually using this lens mostly with the S1 but sometimes with the S5 as well, and I do have to say I did actually notice that it was really heavy and it became quite hard to shoot with after, let's say, sort of 2 hours of shooting. Honestly though, if you're in the market for a 7200 then you're well aware of the size and weight you'll be working with, so I can't really hold that as a negative. A few days later I went to a local nature reserve that is home to around 30 to 40 Highland cows. I figured that this would be a great way to test out the wildlife capabilities of this lens. Of course, Highland cows aren't that quick, but they are huge, so you don't really want to get too close to them just in case you piss them off. As you can see in these photos, the lens is able to produce absolutely stunning results in this particular use case. I found that I was able to get nice and close to the cows while keeping my distance and getting a great amount of compression that gave me extremely pleasing results. The 2.8 aperture for me is definitely worthwhile in a lens like this, and if I had the budget I would definitely pick up the 2.8 version over the f4 version, purely because you're able to gather more light in situations where you're shooting tight. So overall, as you can guess, this lens is absolutely superb and doesn't leave you wanting much more for your money. There's nothing really else to say about this lens apart from how fantastic it is. And of course, if you are someone that shoots a lot of wildlife or nature stuff or even sports and like to even get some nice compression on your portrait photography, then this lens is definitely something to choose and something to consider. Of course, the quality will come at a price. £2,600 here in the UK to be precise, but I do think that lenses like this do hold their value quite a lot, and they are built to last, so I don't think this is going to be something that you buy once and it's completely useless after 2 years. I generally think a lens like this, if you can get a lot of use out of it, will be an investment that will stay with you for a long time in your shooting career. Whether you're doing photo or video, I reckon that this lens will last you a lifetime. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it somewhat useful, entertaining or interesting, and if you did, then please consider subscribing to the channel because I do make a lot of content here surrounding the Panasonic S5, S1, S series and of course the L mount in general. So if you're into that stuff and have a camera that's in this ecosystem, then this channel is definitely for you. So yeah, hopefully I shall see you in the next one.